Welcome to Stitchery Stories, where textile artists share their life in fabric and thread, inspiration, techniques, disasters and delights. And I'm Susan Reeks, enthusiastic embroiderer and textile art dabbler who also loves podcasting. So take a break and enjoy our light-hearted chat, and please share with your friends so they can enjoy it too. Hello and welcome today to our lovely guest, Hattie McGill. Hi Hattie.
Hello.
It's lovely to speak to you today. So I've got Hattie's bio here. Hattie is a hand embroidery artist based in Buckinghamshire whose work is inspired by the natural world around us. She creates three-dimensional interior pieces and fashion accessories and specialises in the embroidery techniques of stump work and gold work. She is also a freelance embroiderer for film, costume and fashion house Alexander McQueen. Her latest work can be seen in Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express and the Zurich Opera's production of Madame Butterfly. So there we are, a brief nutshell of Hattie. So welcome again, Hattie. It's lovely to speak to you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Right, Hattie, yes. And I think the best place for us to get in touch and find out what Hattie's doing is you've got your website, haven't you? HattieMcGillEmbroidery.com. And also the same on Instagram, Hattie McGill Embroidery. So you'll all know by now, I really love Instagram for this particular show. Yes, so I think that's where I'll have seen Hattie as well in Instagrams. And those links will all be on Hattie's episode on StitcheryStories.com. So you can find her on there as well. Now, it's quite exciting about having your work in Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express. Now, I got that film for my mum for Mother's Day last weekend, so I haven't watched it yet. So, yeah. Do you want to tell us which bits we need to be looking out for?
Oh, there's a few bits, really, because I was on it for quite a while. I was on it for like 6 months or something.
Wow.
It's a long stint. What did I do? I did a cross-stitch dress for Michelle Pfeiffer, which annoyingly was the thing that I worked on the most, and I think it was in it for about 30 seconds.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, if that. But,
wow.
And there were two of them. It was a really beautiful dress, entirely cross-stitched. And then there was an embellishment for Judi Dench, which was really nice. And also I did the handkerchief that they find at the murder scene. I monogrammed that.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have to watch out. I'll go and get the DVD off my mum and go and watch it.
I saw it at the cinema, but I kind of want to watch it again. It's always nice to see your work.
Yeah. Exciting, yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll get back onto that. So before I ramble on about films anymore, would you like to share with us what you are working on at the moment and what's got you excited, Hattie?
Yes, so at the moment, I'm just making like crazy because I've got a fair over the Easter weekend called London Artisan, and it's in the Truman Brewery in East London, and I've just got to fill up a whole stand of my work, and so I've got just lots of making at the moment, lots of goldwork bees and crustaceans and some stumpwork butterflies and things like that, just keeping me busy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because they're all quite intricate, aren't they? So creating a body of work on such an intricate scale is definitely a challenge, I would have thought.
Yeah, it's not something I can just, whip them out, I think. They do take quite a while. So it's quite a daunting prospect to suddenly be like, I've got to fill a whole stand. But luckily I'm sharing with a friend. We've decided to split it. So that's quite good.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. Right, and where was that? Was it the Truman Brewery, did you say?
The Truman Brewery, yes. It's East London, Brick Lane.
Yeah, off Brick Lane. And it's Easter weekend, did you say?
Yeah, so it's the 31st of March and the 1st of April.
Yeah. All right, so that's definitely keeping you very busy then. And I have to say, I do love your little crustaceans. I'm having a bad day. Crustaceans, your lobsters and things.
I know, I love making them. They're just so fun to do.
And whatever gave you the idea to start doing crustaceans?
I don't know. I think I grew up by the seaside.
Yeah.
So I think I'm always just fascinated by things like that. And I think I was going to, there's a Hastings seafood festival every year, and I was going to that, and I'd always thought a lobster would work really well in gold work. And then with the seafood festival coming up, I was like, well, I'm going to make a lobster for this. So I did. Brilliant. Just to wear. and loads of people liked it. So now it's just developed, and now there's loads of them, and now they all have their own names. And
oh yes, now do you know what? That is the funniest thing. The names that you've been giving them as well. So can you share a few? Because I can't remember any off the top of my head.
Okay, so there's Jean Shrimpton. She's a shrimp.
That's
obviously.
it. Yeah.
And I've got a new shrimp. Well, he's a prawn, and he's gold, and he's Prawn Connery. Yes. Because he was in Goldfinger.
Yes.
And also Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's a crab.
Yes, that's right. I saw him. So that did make. I thought that was really funny, actually, giving them names of with a play on the shrimpy kind of background.
Yeah, it's got quite not out of hand. But now I come up with a name, and then I'm like, I've got to make something around that name now. Yeah. And my friends give me names. Yeah, my friends are always like, "Have you thought about doing this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'll have to do that now." So it's from just doing one lobster and then a shrimp. It's just slightly got a bit crazy, but I don't mind. I love it.
Yeah, I think it adds those layers of personality to your work as well, isn't it? So people can connect with that. Oh, that's Jean Shrimpton and Jean-Claude Van Damme, etc. So yeah, I think good move. It's like people naming these gritters, isn't it? You get these silly names for these gritting machines. It's the same old thing,
and it makes me laugh. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I'm sure it makes everybody else laugh as well. That really did catch my eye. And I'm on the coast as well, and we've had all this on East Yorkshire, and we're renowned for lobsters here as well. And on a sadder note, I've been out walking today, and the beach is just full of crushed and smashed lobsters. It's just everywhere. Beautiful blue colours, and there's just bits of massive claws. I mean, last week they were all trying to rescue them. They'd all been blown up and they couldn't get back into sea. They were picking them up by a bucket load and then taking them back out to sea. But there's just so many that you can see now, just smashed everywhere. It's like quite sad, really. So yeah, good on you to trying to create some embroidery ones.
I would be picking all those shells up.
It's just the most gorgeous colours. You don't see lobsters on beaches.
No, you don't at all.
Catch them out in the deep and bring them in. You don't see them, but the most beautiful turquoisey blue colour they all are. It's just lovely. And there's some massive big claws as well, big front claws. Some big old ones have been smashed up as well, so it's all a bit sad, really. So anyway, back to the embroidery. So Hattie, how did you first get interested in embroidery and textile art, and who taught you, and what did you do?
This is a tough one. I don't think I can actually pinpoint the moment where I got into textiles or anything. It's just always sort of been there,
right? Yes.
In my life. My mum is really good at sewing, and she taught my sister and I to sew, and we were always busy doing knitting or sewing or I don't know, anything.
Yes.
And always just encouraged to be creative, I guess. Mm-hmm. But there's an embroidery I did for my mum, I think for Mother's Day back in 1992.
Right.
So I must have been 3. I must have had a lot of help with it.
Yeah.
Because it's quite neat, and there's no way I could have done that.
Yeah.
So obviously I started very early.
Yeah.
And it sort of hasn't really stopped.
Right. And what made you, I mean, have you studied it? Have you done some qualifications in it? How did you get from kind of being interested at 3 to creating your lobsters and all the rest of it?
I think, because I was just always doing it, I think I just loved it, and my sister went into textiles, so I guess I just sort of followed that.
Right.
And I did it right through school, and then up until an art foundation. But I also was really interested in furniture as well.
All right.
So after I did my art foundation, I actually went to the National School of Furniture to do furniture restoration, because I was like, I'm going to become an upholsterer.
Yeah.
This is what I really want to do, sort of combine the furniture and the textiles. But we also specialised in lots of other things, and I got really into gilding.
Right.
And then so I became a gilder for a while.
Wow.
I know. And then so I did that degree, and then I just realised I still really miss doing the actual textiles.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of years out in the working world, and then discovered the Royal School of Needlework and enrolled on that degree, and then trained there for 3 years.
Right. So
it took me 2 degrees to get to get to working out what I wanted to do, but I got there in the end, I guess.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, that is really, really fascinating, though, to done other degrees first and then discovered the Royal School of Needlework qualifications.
So I think when I first was at degree age, I don't think that the Royal School of Needlework had a degree programme.
Right.
So I wouldn't have been able to go on to that anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, it's all worked out for the best, really.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I will never regret my furniture training because I loved it and met so many great people and things like that, and I've still got those skills.
Well, exactly, they don't disappear, do they? So I was going to say, do you do anything with that at the moment, or is it all around your embroidery at the moment?
It's all really my embroidery. I still manage to hoard furniture just in case I decide to get back into it as projects.
Yeah.
Much to my parents' annoyance, because I keep just storing it at their house.
Well, that's what parents' houses are for, aren't they? Filling it with all the stuff that you don't want in your own house.
Exactly. But my partner's a furniture maker, so I've got a bit lazy and I just make him do all the DIY bits around the house.
Brilliant. Oh yeah, that's really great. And you say that the love of gilding as well. So you've like bright shiny gold things, hence gold lobsters and stuff. Yeah. Well, gold work, and it's lovely, isn't it, when you're creating things like that?
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, kind of moving on through that. So, given that interesting path towards getting involved in your embroidery and textile art, who or what have been your major inspirations, Hattie, and also currently?
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily have a person or a style that's like an inspiration to me. I'm more drawn to things and objects, and I'm a serious collector. I can't stop picking things up and bringing them home. And then so it's more things I see, things I find. Then I guess in a way I quite like that Victorian style. I'm quite inspired by that Victorian style of the collection and how they displayed things and the specimens, and I think that sort of shines through quite a bit in my stump work with the moths and the butterflies and the specimens.
Yes.
That I do. But yeah, it's hard. It's not really I don't think I really have a specific person. I like so many things that I find the inspiration comes from anywhere.
Yes, I think that's very true, isn't it?
Yeah, and the sea creatures definitely is from, I think, my childhood by the sea and spending a lot of time on the beaches and the fishing nets and the fishing huts and things like that.
Yes.
And the fishmongers on the beach, things like that. Forever bringing home crab shells. And things.
Oh, yeah. Well, buckets and buckets of the damn things. They do lend themselves, I said about the crustaceans, do really lend themselves to the 3D work, the stump work and the gold work. It just seems to fit nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, they don't work as well, I think, when they're flat.
No.
So it does work really well with the gold work and the different textures that you can achieve with them and things like that.
Yeah. And you were saying there as well that you have worked with Alexander McQueen. How did that develop? Is that an ongoing thing?
Yes, I've been freelancing to them on and off for about 2 years now.
Right.
One of my friends from the Royal School of Needlework was working there and they needed some extra help. So when they have special projects and things, they call me in and some other freelancers, and we just do some stitching and on some nice things, and that's it really. But we aren't there full time. We'd come and go and whenever they need us.
Yeah. So, and is there? It probably sounds a bit of a weird question, really, but is there still a lot of call for couture embroidery on the kind of high end fashion stuff?
I say so. In fact, I think it's probably there's probably more of a demand these days because people are going back to getting things handmade and made in England and that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think it is becoming more of a thing. But there is a demand, definitely.
Yeah, because it's something I don't particularly follow fashion a great deal. I sit here in my fleece tops and my leggings and stuff. But I was just kind of wondering because just from what I see online, I see quite a lot of really beautiful. I love watching those videos from like the Dior house, the people doing embroidery for Dior, where they're making a whole big frame full of flowers out of silk, and do you know what I mean? There's they're making almost fabric out of the little like flowers and things. I find them absolutely fascinating to watch those and the sequins and all the So it was just kind of wondering, is it something that's getting more popular? It seems to be because I see more of it, or is it just because people are feeling happier about videoing the work and sharing it? Do you know what I mean? There's those two sides of things.
Probably a bit of both, actually. It probably is a bit of both, in that there's now it's I can't really explain it. I think it is a bit of both and a bit less things being sent abroad to be made,
right,
and using local artisans and stuff like that.
it's really, I think, people valuing
it's people valuing the work.
Yes, and valuing it for something that is beautiful and time intensive and not done by a machine, and therefore there is a price attached to that. But also we've got people who can do that here. And I think really was talking to somebody else, the UK has got a very rich history in embroidery and a lot of the classical techniques and so on as well. So that it's nice that it's still in demand.
Yeah, it is really nice, and I really hope that it continues that way, and that I feel that people do cherish handmade a bit more these days.
Yes.
And so I think it might be coming back a bit stronger, which is nice.
Lovely, yes, and it keeps a lot of the techniques alive as well, doesn't it? Which we don't want to lose those sorts of things. So.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So that's a nice mixture for you of different kinds of work.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So what would you say then? I mean, you've already mentioned about your favourite techniques. You're really interested in the 3D, the stump work, the gold work. Why do you like those techniques so much, Hattie? And is there anything else that you want to throw in the pot there as regards to favourite techniques?
Well, I think the 3D, the stump work and the raised work, and probably a bit of the gold work, I think it possibly goes back to my furniture training.
Right.
So I like how you build something and how you make it into a 3D item.
Yes.
And how is that going to work and how's that going to fit together? And there's a bit of problem solving with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like that technical aspect. I really love the stump work. And gold is just, it's shiny.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a magpie. I'll always be drawn to shiny things.
Yeah.
But then it's tricky because I learned so much at the Royal School of Needlework. I find it hard to pick a favourite technique. It's like picking a favourite pet or something, because I love all the delicate work. I love the white work and the black work and things like that. So do you know what, if it's embroidery, I like it.
Embroidery is your favourite technique. Marvellous.
Yeah, embroidery is my favourite technique.
So you must have learned your gold work skills at the Royal School.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes,
was that something that you'd tried beforehand, or didn't even know it existed before you went there?
No, I knew it existed, but I'd never tried it. Like my embroidery up until that point had just been self-taught.
Yeah,
a bit of cross stitch and silk shading and things like that. But never, like I could embroider, but never to that level, and I'd never tried any specific techniques or anything.
Right. Yeah. So what would you say then, Hattie, has been the high point of your textile art and embroidery journey so far? You've mentioned a few there, but you'd like to talk us through those and kind of explain why you were so excited about them and how they happened. What kind of backstory behind some of them?
Oh, this is another tricky one. I mean, anytime I've worked on a film and I see my my name in the credits as the embroiderer, that's a definite highlight, and I will never get over that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ever. But I don't know, actually. I recently did a dress for Alexander McQueen. There was a couple of us on the team that Kate Middleton wore.
Right.
And that was quite exciting.
Yeah.
Especially when I was in the supermarket and I saw her in it on the front of, I think it was Hello magazine. And I got very giddy. I was on my own, so it was a little bit embarrassing. So they're always good points. Always, yeah. I feel like I've reached many high points. So anything extra is just a bonus.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
I was actually very fortunate in my second year at the Royal School of Needlework. The V&A Museum of Childhood had an exhibition on dolls' houses,
right.
And they'd made this display piece where lots of, I don't know, businesses had done a room. So Liberty did the library.
Oh, right, yes.
So lots of places did a room, and then they built it up into a big house.
Yeah.
And so Liberty did the library, and they asked the Royal School of Needlework to do the 2 cushions and the rug, and I was chosen to do the rug, to design and sew the rug. So that was definitely a high point, going to the V&A Museum of Childhood and seeing my work in their big display, which was lovely.
Oh.
That was also very exciting.
Yeah. And so is that still out on display?
No, I don't know if it was a travelling I think it might have gone somewhere. It's definitely not there anymore.
Right.
but it was it was definitely fun to see, to be like in a museum that I've, gone to for years and be like, that's my work.
Yeah.
That's my work in a really cool museum.
Oh.
But no, I think it's traveling, or it'll be somewhere now.
It'll be somewhere, yeah, exactly.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And I hope you're keeping a good record of all of these things as well.
Oh yeah. Any any bit of like flyer or for something like that.
Yeah.
Or I bought the Hello magazine with Kate Winslet's dress on it, and yeah, I buy the DVDs of all the films that I've done and things like that. So yeah, definitely something so I can show the kids and prove when in the future that I did things at some point.
Yeah. Oh, that's really lovely. So quite a nice scrapbook on the go then, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Less of a scrapbook at the moment and more just a box.
A pile.
A pile that I really should sort through.
It's all right. I'm just looking at the paperwork in my office. That's definitely a pile at the moment as well. It's got to the point where when I was doing some videoing last week, and it's like, oh, that damn pile of paperwork. Right, so I had to keep moving it out of shot. And then, of course, I did something through via my webcam. I was doing something. Oh, damn, I did a Facebook Live. All right, this pile of paperwork is getting moved around. And then every time you move it and dump it, it gets worse, of course, doesn't it? So it's like,
yeah. No. I've got about 3 of them around me at this point of time, mainly because it's the end of the tax year and some, the receipts need to go somewhere.
Yes, exactly. And we've all got that to deal with, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get back onto embroidery instead of taxes and stuff like that. So, so those are some lovely high points that you've already been through. So, well done on all of those, and so very exciting. So, in amongst all of that, Hattie, then, do you have, and we normally have a bit of a giggle over these, if you've got any stories of when something didn't go quite as planned and was maybe a bit of a disaster, and importantly, what did you learn from that experience?
See, I was thinking about this earlier, and I think I actually haven't had anything that major.
Yeah.
I think that's the great thing about hand embroidery, is if something goes wrong, you can unpick it.
Yes.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done the whole sewing through my finger on the sewing machine, sewing through my finger on the overlocker, things like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I did set fire to my jumper once while I was sewing at my machine, which wasn't the best.
How did you set fire to your jumper whilst using your sewing machine?
Well, I had a candle next to it.
Oh, well, there we
have
it.
I moved my fabric through, and I just caught the edge of my jumper, and the whole thing went up. So that was entertaining. Yeah. Luckily, I didn't get hurt, so it was fine. But it was funny.
Dear me, sewing by candlelight. Yeah, really good one.
Yeah. I quite often, actually, this is what I do quite often, especially if I'm stitching on the train. I have a habit of sewing wherever I'm working onto my clothes.
Oh yes.
And have got up at like London to get off the train, and I found that it's attached to my tights or something like that. Which seems to be quite a regular story for me.
That is seriously annoying though, isn't it, as well? I think, oh no.
Yeah.
So what do you do at that point then? Just grin and bear it and walk off with it embroidered to you, or just like get the scissors
Probably
out?
Just yank it off and rip my tights or something, and then have to spend the whole day with holes in my tights or something like that. But little things like that I do all the time, but I don't think I've had anything major. I mean, I've had my boyfriend put brown paint on my white work once. I thought that was quite a big disaster. I thought that might be the end of our relationship, in fact.
Oh dear.
But it wasn't. It was fine. But yeah, so I haven't really got anything that major, I don't think.
As you say though, with hand embroidery, you can kind of see it's going wrong after about 3 stitches when it's like, no, that doesn't look quite right. It's not following that line properly, or it doesn't look like an eye, or whatever it is that you're doing. You can catch it.
Exactly. I'm unpicking things all the time. Like, I'm such a perfectionist, so I don't think I ever let myself get to that point where something's a disaster.
Right.
Yeah, or like but my friends at the Royal School of Needlework used to always tell me off for unpicking things, so I'd just spend my life just unpicking all the time and just redoing things because I just wasn't happy.
Yeah. Well, that's how things get to be so beautiful, though, isn't it? With
that's true.
Yeah, with that kind of attitude. So then, following on from that, we usually have a bit of a chat about those dreaded unfinished objects lurking around in backs of cupboards. Now, do you have any? UFOs, Hattie? And if so, what is your longest standing one? Or is the one where you keep thinking, do you know, I am never, ever going to finish that? Have you got any of those projects to share with us?
I do, actually. I mean, not with embroidery. I find once I start something, even if I have about 4 projects on the go, I will get them done.
Mm-hmm.
But embroidery for myself, I've got about 5 things that I haven't finished at all. Things that I think, oh, that'll be nice. I'll do that for the house, or I'll do that on a piece of clothing or something like that. But I'll never finish them because I get distracted and I'll find that I'll want to do something else. And so about 5 things currently in a box underneath my desk that I think will never get done.
Yeah, and when you say like doing embroidery for yourself, that's always an interesting differentiation, isn't it, between embroidery for your business or for earning money with, and embroidery that you want to do for yourself. It's quite an interesting division there going on.
I feel quite guilty if I do it for myself. That I feel like I should be doing this for my business, or I should be, I don't know, doing something else that's a bit more worthwhile than spending time doing something that's just for me. So it is always quite tricky. So with embroidery, I have a few things that I just have accepted that they might not ever get done unless I just take them on holiday and that's it.
Yeah. So what sort of thing?
Clothing.
Knitting.
Embroidery wise, I've got I started like an Edward Gorey style weather vane that I thought would be really cool to put in just a hoop.
Yeah.
It's like a skeleton, and so far he's just got an arm. And he's had an arm for about 2 years.
So why do you think he's just got an arm? Have you got fed up with it?
The thing is, I'm not even sure. That's where I got to, and that's where he will probably always be. And I'm actually quite tempted just to frame him like that.
Right.
Because it's quite sad.
And have you got any other classics lurking about then?
So knitting. I keep starting knitting and I never finish that. And making clothes for myself. I've got about 3 in the cupboard that are half done, and I've probably changed shape or size since I started them, so they'll probably never get done either.
So now you see the secrets are coming out. Hattie's got a great big pile of these things lurking around in the back of a cupboard.
Yes, that's true. All my secrets coming out now.
Yeah. Well, I always feel, because I spend all day staring at the computer and doing my podcasting and all the rest of it. For me, it's a real treat to get my embroidery out, because I spend more time talking about it these days with my guests, or I'm earning my living with my online marketing and the other kind of supporting other people with their podcasts, that my embroidery doesn't get much of a look in. So it's a real treat. Oh, do you know, I'm going to get it out and I'm going to do something. So I'm at that stage now where I need to have something, I need to create a new piece. And so sometimes that can be a while before I actually get round to starting. And I was doing a couple before Christmas. I'm thinking, I knew both had to be done by the end of February for these 2 little competitions. And I don't know why I didn't even start it. And I'd already planned them out. I'd planned them out months before. It was all drawn up. It was in my notebook exactly what I was going to do. I had the materials. I just didn't start. Anyway, so then I kind of started thinking, I'm really seriously going to run out of time now. So the very last one, it was just for our local Embroiderers Guild meeting. And our meeting starts at 1:30 on the Saturday. And 9 o'clock, I was there. I think, I've got to get this finished. Trying to mount it, sew it onto a canvas, those canvas artist square things. I like putting them on there, quite easy. So, that was a bit last minute, really. But, it for me, it's a treat. Whereas if you're embroidering all day, that's a treat in itself, isn't it? So how do you treat yourself after you've been doing that all day?
That's the thing, I don't stop. I feel really lucky that this is my job, because it never feels like I'm working. I do quite often work till very late. So I don't really stop in the evening and then, sit down in front of the TV or anything like that. If I do, I have to be doing something. So I'll normally then move my embroidery into the sitting room and work there. I actually just started doing lace making last year. So tatting. And that was like my thing to do in the evening to just unwind a bit from embroidering, give my eyes a bit of a rest, I guess. But still kept me busy. And then on the last film I did, which was Mary Queen of Scots, which is out at the end of the year, I ended up doing loads of tatting for that. So now that doesn't feel like that. No. That now has morphed into my work. Yes. And then I took up knitting again. and now so it's just always something. But yeah, it's normally I don't really stop, and I don't really have anything that I do as a treat, because what I do is a treat in itself.
Yeah, and that's a lovely way to be anyway, I think. So well done for making every day a treat.
Thank you.
Lots of people would love to have that situation.
I know, I'm so lucky that this is what I do.
Brilliant. Now, you mentioned before about juggling various things. So we have that saying of beware of long distant elephants. So it's those items that really seem so far away when you say yes, and then they slowly creep up on you. Suddenly, there they are, deadlines appeared. So how do you manage all of your distant elephants, your long-term projects, Hattie, but keep self-organised and keep that creativity flowing as well? Are you any top secrets for us on that one?
Oh, see, I think it's something that, because as a freelancer, I think it's something you have to learn quite quickly to be organised and prioritise, because you will be juggling lots of jobs at the same time.
Yes.
So I think I just write so many lists. I've got lists everywhere, and post-its everywhere. And every beginning of every week, I write a to-do list, and I look at it in order of priority. And then I just every day I look at it and I check through it and see where I am. And then just an ongoing calendar, and I think it's just organisation really. That's how I deal with it. And I'm not the most organised people either. So
you did a good impression of sounding organised then.
I think with like my work, I'm vaguely organised. Anything else, nightmare.
So what sort of time scale do you get for some of these longer term? You're saying you were working on a film for 6 months and some of these other projects. How did they come about in terms of what notice do you have that they're going to be starting, and how do they work in terms of organisation?
It varies.
Because I'm being nosy.
It varies really. So if I'm on a film, I will have like a month's warning. Like I'll know it's coming up, and then I'll get a start date, and then I will be in the studio where the film's being made, and I'm just working with the costume designer, and they'll tell me what they want and when they want it, and I can work to that schedule. So that's quite good. Things like fashion and freelance fashion, you don't get much notice. You get, they might call you the day before or 2 days before.
Oh, crikey.
Sometimes a week, but generally, there's not much notice. That's fine. That's freelance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then you kind of like juggle everything else around to try and fit in that particular project as best you can.
Yeah, because it just depends really on the job, and with them, I guess with fashion, it depends when they're ready for when the dress is ready to be worked on, and there's so many factors involved.
Yes.
So it just really does vary from job to job, and then I try and fit my own work around that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll tell them I can't do it because I've got too much of my own stuff on, and it's just a balancing act really.
Right. Yes, it is. I say the life of a freelancer, regardless of what the subject is very much a juggling act, isn't it? And I think that's why it's also nice to have your own thing going on in the background to be able to even out the peaks and troughs and keep going as well, really. So
keeps me busy, and keeps those creative juices flowing and things like that. But then it's also nice when I get called into freelance places, because then I get to speak to people and things like that. Whereas when I'm working from home, it's just me on my own, and it can get a bit lonely sometimes.
Yeah, it is nice to get out of the house, isn't it? And as much as it's nice to work from home, it's also really nice sometimes to just be able to escape and get out of the house.
Exactly.
So if you're doing like film work, are you typically always at the studio or the place where the costume people are, or do you go for meetings and then come home?
Pretty much I'm there in the studios.
Right.
I've done 3 films where I've been in the studio there for quite a few months just working, and they give me various things to do all the time. But then there have been other ones where I've worked from home and I've just had like a specific garment to do. And then I've worked from home and I've taken it away and then sent it back to them and things like that. So it just depends on, the film and the length of time they employ me and things like that.
Right. Oh, that's really interesting as well. So I think it's been great to find out a bit more about the behind the scenes of how these things actually come into being and, are done, really. So that's been really interesting. So thank you for shedding a bit of light on that for us, Hattie.
Okay.
So, and then you mentioned you're busy working towards your exhibition over the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
So have you got any other future plans and projects that you are allowed to share with us? I'm sure you've got a few up your sleeve that you're maybe not allowed to say anything, but what have you got kind of planned out for the year, Hattie, that you might be able to share with us?
I think I've got a bit more film freelance work coming up, which is quite nice. But generally, yes, I've got this fair, the London Artisan, at the end of March, and I've got another one in April, and then 2 in May. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, and then 1 in August. So a lot of selling my work and getting out there a bit, because I really enjoy doing fairs, because I love talking to people and meeting people, and I'm a bit of a social bunny like that sometimes. So
yeah, well, that's and do you know what? I think people find it so interesting as well to speak to the people who've actually made the things that they're looking at,
and just the chance to like find new people who are doing similar things, or other creative things. It's just nice to just meet other people. So I've got lots of them this year. Just lots of making, and then I'll see what turns up in the freelance world at the same time. So I don't really know, to see what turns up. I'm happy either way.
Yeah, well, as you say, you've got some film work on the horizon. Obviously, you're very, very busy with your fairs as well at the moment. So sounds like you're quite busy anyway.
Yeah, I know. My Etsy keeps me going. So there's always things to do.
And so you have an Etsy store, do you?
Yes, I do. I think the name for that might just be Hattie McGill. It's all on my website and Instagram.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Everything's on your website so people can follow you along. So, well, there we are, having such a lovely chat. Do you know what, Hattie? Thank you so much for speaking with us today, sharing your Stitchery story, and shedding some quite interesting light into some of these film projects and what's involved behind the scenes as well. So I'm sure it's been very interesting for people. And was it just me? I'm just really nosy. I don't know. That's why I like doing these. It's an excuse, isn't it? Find out lots of new things. We've got your links there all on your episode of the Stitchery Stories website, and also Instagram and your website. So go and follow Hattie on Instagram. She shares some lovely things, and you'll definitely see some of the crustaceans and butterflies and so on that she's busy creating as well. So they're all really beautiful.
Yeah, and if anyone comes up with any names for a crustacean, just let me know.
Oh, you've started something now, I'm sure. Right, entries on a postcard, please. Fantastic. Right, Hattie, that's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been lovely.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks. If you liked this episode and want to hear more, then please join the Stitchery Stories fan club so you can get an email when a new episode is released. It's a quick and easy way of listening and of keeping up with any news and offers from our lovely guests. Please visit stitcherystories.com to join the fan club. Of course, if you have iTunes, then subscribe there to automatically get new episodes, and why not leave us a review and rating whilst you are there. So that is the end of our Stitchery story for today. So keep stitching, keep smiling, and keep creating your very own Stitchery stories.